Welcome, everyone, to People on Dating. I'm your host, Will Morales. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this podcast is about the ups and downs of dating and how to navigate through it. Today, my guests are David and Narine Semerdjian. Both David and Narine are working hard to set the norm for married couples and sexual play using sex toys. What you can learn from them is how to overcome shame, business challenges in a very saturated and competitive market, and how to rethink pleasure for oneself as well as a partner. Well, David and Narine Semerdjian, how are you guys doing today? And
We're
thank you so
great,
much for
William.
being on People on Dating. Thank you.
Well, we're excited to
thanks
be
for
here. Thanks
having
for having
us.
us.
No, well, this topic is a good one. Sex toys and asking your partner to participate and things like that. So first of all, tell us how you guys got here. What was your journey like to add sex toys to a relationship? Um, Tell me, David, tell me, Noreen, what was that journey like for you guys to get here today?
Yeah, so the journey started a long time ago when we first started dating and first started being sexually active. And through the beginning, like I guess year of that time, uh, there were occasions where it was very difficult for like Noreen to reach orgasm because for whatever reason she had endometriosis. She was always in her head at times, and so I went online, did some research, and saw that bringing a sex toy, a vibrating product, can might kind of help her reach that orgasm. So in doing so, we successfully achieved multiple orgasms in one sitting, and that kind of led me to fast forward a couple of years. We're living together now, we're married and everything, and now I kind of dive back into the whole sex toy genre of like, okay, there are great toys out there and there are a lot of terrible quality toys out there. So I'm gonna see if I can start my own business and only offer the best quality toys, regardless of the price. So I just went out, did a lot of research, and we went through several revisions of the website.
But also, I think the journey with him is he also got bored and wanted to try new things. That's, I think, a guy's perspective more than anything.
Yeah, because it's very
Plus solving my
repetitive, right?
problems.
It's the
Which is a
same,
good thing.
same thing over and over again, and you have to spice it up some way, right? To keep it interesting, to keep both people involved, right? So bringing toys into the bedroom kind of helps with that. It keeps things fresh and new, and not just the same toy, but multiple toys at different stages of your sex life.
Experience,
Yeah,
yeah.
different experiences. So yeah, I mean it's fun. It keeps things fresh. You try things out together. When you try it out together, not just solo but together, then you communicate a lot better with each other, and that not only involves in your sexual relationship but also outside of the bedroom as well, right? So then the communication opens up to other different aspects of your life. It's like a snowball effect. I mean, you start with sex toys, but that just evolves into something completely different that you wouldn't even imagine involving into, and it helps out your relationship with your partner greatly, I think. We
Yeah,
think.
I was looking at your website a few days ago, then I looked at it again today, and I saw the different toys that you guys have and all that. But um, so let me ask you some, David. So when you talk to, let's say, some of your buddies and all that, and I'll definitely want to ask you too, Noreen, when you talk to your buddies, David, and do they feel that this is something um, that they might say, wait a minute, if I'm not satisfying my girlfriend, I'm pretty sure you heard this 100 times or 1,000. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm not packing the wood that I should, or um, maybe I'm doing something wrong, or maybe she's not into me. I mean, do you get those type of questions where a man might say that maybe his lack of the tool that he carries is not enough, or you know,
Yeah.
you know what I
Short
mean?
yeah,
Yeah,
short
yeah,
short
yeah.
answer, short answer, yes. A lot of men, when they bring a product or ask to bring a product into the bedroom, they feel like they're inadequate.
Right.
So that's like the short answer is they feel inadequate, they feel like they're worthless and everything. But it's the contrary. Look, you can't replace the human body, the
Right.
male body. You can't replace that with a toy. It's that simple. Bringing a sex toy into like your love life, it just enhances everything.
And from my perspective, what I think you're asking, William, is I feel like a lot of men feel responsible for pleasuring their partner, and a lot of times feel like they're falling short of it because it's mostly a lack of communication, not necessarily the tool. It's skill and communication together combined that ultimately brings two people together harmoniously to reach that orgasm multiple times or even just once. A lot of times men don't understand how women function, and then women don't really have the voice or the know-how of how to communicate their desire because they're led more emotionally versus desire, whereas men are led with desire and they hold their emotions in. So you have to kind of understand the different concepts of how men and women work so that we can bring that in together, and enhance it. What sex toys do is they bring in some excitement. They do add like a sort of an aid to a problem if you do have a problem. They do definitely offer excitement, a different type of way to have sex. It
There are a
breaks
lot
up
of
the routine.
there are a lot of women that can't orgasm from PIV, penis and
Right.
vagina.
Mhm.
So they need some kind of like external
Stimulation,
stimulation,
but
like
also women don't
clitoral.
really have the knowledge of touching themselves, or they feel ashamed, or there's guilt, or there's
And
a whole bunch of
a
different.
lot of men don't have that knowledge, or they think that just rubbing it with your finger is gonna, make them reach orgasm, but it's probably gonna hurt. 9 times out of 10, it's gonna hurt them. So
Yeah.
it's practice, and bringing like a separate toy into the mix will just greatly enhance, alleviate, and it just, yeah, it's.
So no, and I get that. That makes a lot of sense that you both made. Um, so how and going back to the body thing. Now, does that come with age and experience? I mean, obviously, when you're younger, you're in your 20s, mid late 20s. You're still learning a woman's body, and maybe vice versa. But when you get older, now you're in your late 30s, 40s, and 50s. Doesn't a man now have the experience to where to touch a woman and how to please her without the toy? And Narine is shaking her head, saying, "Hell no."
No, no, a lot of times, no. It takes couples 15 years to even get to the point of, oh, hey, I'm gonna start communicating what I want.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and there's people we've talked to.
Well, what, 15
There's
years?
people it takes 15 years.
Or we had a conversation with someone the other day. Like, it's finally they're in their 50s, and her husband is like trying to search online how to like make the relationship better in the bedroom.
Oh
It
wow.
just it really depends. So no, yes, experience gives you a certain aspect of knowledge, but at the same time, if it's not communicated, there's no way you can advance on that experience. People have a problem with growing. They feel uncomfortable with bringing up the subject, the conversation, even within their relationship. Sometimes it takes couples a longer time to open up and say, hey, I feel more comfortable. Like in the beginning, you asked David about how we got started. He brought in sex toys into our relationship. I was curious. I had a desire for it, but I would never voice it because for me, it was shameful. It would cause guilt. I thought I would get caught. I thought I would do all the like, and then I would get slut shamed and yada yada yada. Not to mention, like when he started the sex toy store, I had wanted nothing to do with it until he brought to me the whole aspect of safe sex toys and how the market's saturated and not educated and all this other stuff. I really jumped on board with him because I'm very concerned with my health, like with what I put on or in my body. And I would want the same thing for people because there's a lot of sex toys that cause a lot of disease and harm to people without them knowing, including lubes. So that kind of led me into wanting to be involved. And even then, like it took me many years to open up to people and say, hey, I actually own a sex toy store with my husband. It's not ever an easy subject to talk about. It's, you know, maybe a partner can bring in a product and that partner might feel apprehensive, but then your partner doesn't know how to react in regard to that. So it all really boils down to how can we have the conversations to advance ourselves so that we can grow together, not get bored of each other, and continue loving each other the way we really want to be loved.
Right. No, I think the biggest thing that I get so far is definitely to communicate the desire, whether it's a man's point of view or a woman's point of view. Now, how soon after dating? Let's go with dating first, right? You're dating for a few months and all that. That on David's point of view, do you just broach the subject and say, hey, you know, I have an idea, maybe this might spice it up, or or it's such a complicated topic for me, and but I love the idea. Don't get me wrong, because this is something I thought about a while ago. Um, David, so how do you approach a woman's point of view? Like, you know, I have this idea, or do you tell from a woman that she's not satisfied? The woman tells the man, hey, you know, guys, you got to bring it up a little bit more. I'm not getting off.
Yeah, I mean, there's no right way of bringing it up, but there are definitely wrong ways of bringing it up.
Well, there are right ways and there are wrong ways.
There are more wrong ways than right ways. But like the way I would bring it up, first of all, it would depend on the partner, like how open they are,
Yeah.
right?
So time does not matter. It's about how much, how comfortable you feel with
their
each other.
culture and their background, and see like what kind of people they are, because more cultures are accepting than not, right? So and you never know, maybe your partner has already started using sex toys and you just don't know about it. Maybe they're afraid to show it to you, right? Or bring it up to you. So
a lot of times what you would do in that regard is never have the conversation after or before sex. You would never have the conversation in a bedroom. You would never have the conversation to accuse anybody to say, hey, you're really bad at that. What you would do instead is you would ask your partner for a casual meeting where it's intimate, where you both can feel very comfortable about talking about such subjects. And then you would bring up the conversation by saying something like, hey, I've been reading something online about this subject. Let's bring in butt sex, for example. I've been reading about it and I'm really curious. Have you ever heard about it? Do you have any thoughts about it? Did you know, I just came across my feed and I'm just really curious about what you think about it. I'm curious. And it's always about their knowledge that you want to get informed about. You never want to put your desire forward and say, hey, I'm really wanting to have butt sex. Are you down to do that? Like, you don't say something like that, because that will make the partner very apprehensive. So instead what you do is you bring up the subject and see how much they know and what their curiosity is about the subject. And then if it gets comfortable enough, you can say, have you ever thought about trying it? Would you ever want to? Would you ever want to explore it with this kind of a product? Or would you ever
also a great way is watching movies that, you know, like putting a movie on that, you know, has a scene that uses sex toys within it in a good setting.
But porn doesn't teach.
Not porn.
Yeah, porn does not teach exactly how you would have safe anything in regard to
when
sex.
when I say movie, I'm not talking about like a rated X movie, like a rated R movie or a PG-13 movie. And it depends on the topic. Like, say if you want to try pegging, for example, a great movie to put on is, gosh, what was that movie called?
I have no idea.
Ryan Reynolds.
Deadpool.
So the first
I've seen part of Deadpool, but I never saw that part. Okay,
but
yeah,
it brings a comedic part of the movie on. You know, it just kind of like it opens up the subject to say, hey, what do you think about that?
And just like see your partner's like facial expression during that scene. Like you can tell like if they're curious or if they're disgusted by it, but you can also bring it up like after, like pause the movie, like, hey, like, what do you think about that scene, you know, or even at the end of the movie, and just have like a organic kind of conversation with them and just naturally bring it up.
It's like,
if that's something that you want to
it's like asking someone what their favorite food is. Have you ever tried this? What did you think of it? Did you like it? Have you ever, you know, had it at this type of place or that kind of place? Would you ever try to experience it again? It's just a very simple conversation we overthink because we're just so afraid to open up about it. That's all it is. And
like you wouldn't bring up a food conversation while having sex with your partner, would you?
Maybe you might. I don't know. Maybe some dessert. I have no idea.
But I think you guys hit the mark with just having a casual conversation, because again, maybe like David said, maybe you might not bring it up while you're eating dinner, but or something like that. But
I
I
mean,
get
you could if you feel comfortable enough. So it just depends on your preferences.
right. Okay, but again, does having the couple, you and your girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever, now again, is it 6 months into the relationship, 3 months? Is it too soon?
Oh,
However,
time-wise, there is
that
no right or
only
wrong.
There is
you
no
and
right or wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
only because you guys are really getting to know each other. So it depends on how comfortable you start feeling with one another. You never want to be pushy about something you want to do towards another person, because that's one, a huge turn off. And two, it could be very offensive. And then it can also make the person feel like they're inadequate,
Yeah,
insufficient.
because there are people that have sex and then they start dating. There are people who start dating and then they start having sex. There are
Yeah.
people that wait a year, that 2, 3 years, or even till marriage to like have sex. So it's a really broad spectrum. I mean, there's no real answer for that,
It's
basically.
Okay.
however
Should it be the man's then?
it
So
doesn't have
no,
to.
it doesn't have to be. It could be a
It does
woman.
not
I'm
have to
saying
be.
I'm
No,
saying
it's
that because then if the man brings it up, then maybe the woman might see him as, oh, okay, this guy is open. He's not um conscious about maybe his equipment not working as well or whatever. So I'm saying maybe it should be maybe a man that brings up the possibility of toys.
I think oftentimes what we see is men do often bring it up. Whereas if there are women who are very inclined to do that for themselves, they'll do it for themselves. But
Okay.
in our experience from not only our network of people, but also our customer base, I find that men are the first to approach it.
Yes. So I feel like we've seen more men approach that subject, bringing it into the bedroom, than women.
Men are
Okay.
fix-it type of people. They want to fix a problem. They want
Yeah.
to make her more interested in wanting to have sex more often. That's his main focus.
Okay.
So for him to kind of bring a solution to what he thinks is a problem without her thinking it's a problem, that could be an issue. So don't bring something into the bedroom unless you've discussed it first.
Right. The
That
obvious
would
it is just communication and talking about it first
yeah.
before anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because David just randomly, like for example, in our first experience, he just said, "Oh, hey, I'm curious, or I'm gonna buy this little bullet ring with a C ring or whatever. It has a bullet vibrator on it. I'm just gonna buy it." And I was like, okay. And he didn't really give me a choice, and it made me feel very apprehensive. I just didn't discuss that with him. And then he brought it, or he got it in the mail, and he just brought it to me and he said, let's just use it, let's see what happens. And I was like, oh my god, I can't believe he's doing that. But I was very curious. I was like, no, I absolutely said no to him. I was like, no, hell no, we're not freaking doing this shit. Like if our like any one of my parents or sisters or anybody found out, I would be like, no, it's not happening. And but I shut him down. But it didn't mean I wasn't interested. It just his approach was a very terrible one.
Right.
But that also tells you that she's more not interested. She's more worried about what other people are gonna think
Exactly.
Yeah. Fair
than
enough. Fair enough.
than what she should feel within how good it's gonna feel for herself once we use it.
Yeah.
Right. We're
Women
talking with. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
women have a problem with, I think, thinking more of themselves when it comes to that type of thing,
Mhm.
especially like during intercourse. Like a lot of times women can just really zone out and not be into it or not want it because they're just thinking about everybody else they need to take care of in their
Okay,
life.
when is it gonna be
The
done?
kids, the business, the
Wow.
job, the husband, the parents, whoever it is, right? They're always worried about everybody else, so they can't ever really tune in into their own bodies. The great thing about sex toys is it helps you kind of get into that
And also
zone.
because spice up the relationship, right? If a woman gets bored in the relationship, maybe toys will help because,
Yeah.
you know, I had a show about a year ago about women getting bored in relationships, and part of it came up with sex. So what? Okay, so now you have the conversation. You're both comfortable, whether you're 3 months into a relationship, 6 months, whatever it may be, and now you have the conversation. What's the toy that is brought into the relationship. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, again, it's discussing so the way you would shop for a toy is, what do you want to satisfy? What body part are you concentrating on?
Mm.
Is it the penis? Is it the balls? Is it the butt? Is the vagina? Is it the clitoris? The
Well, for a
vulva?
man, it'll be the whole vagina.
Well, the vulva. So the
Yeah.
vulva would be the clitoris, the whole surrounding area,
Yes.
anywhere from above it to below the pelvis. So and then also between the butt and the vagina, there's the vulva is a whole thing.
Right.
So I mean, a vibrator, most times people think it's about penetration. It's not really about penetration. It's about the massage, the psychological, like how tuned in are you into that pleasure point, and then how can we really like zing this up so that you could really feel it in your body.
Right.
Like if I were starting out and I was trying to introduce a sex toy in the relationship, and
It'd be a simple
it would,
vibrator.
yeah, it would be a simple.
That's what I
simple
thought, but I
vibrator.
wasn't sure. Okay.
Yeah, it would be a simple vibrator because at that point you're already providing the stimulation within, right? And so you would need some external stimulation, which would be a simple vibrator, either a bullet vibrator or a clitoral vibrator. And then from there you can expand. You can do cock rings, you can do butt plugs, vibrating butt plugs. I mean, there's
Cock
all
rings are
sorts
always
of different.
a great way to introduce a vibrator for the first time, but women most of the time need direct stimulation on the vulva.
Yeah.
And it's, most times I think a dildo is probably the most purchased industry wise, other than butt toys, but it's a vibrator is going to be the best thing you can possibly get as a first time product. And it's very introductory. It's not as scary as a dildo, for example, or a rabbit vibrator. And then once a woman advances from a vibrator, she might say, oh, I want vibration stimulation within also. So then she can explore that. It's like a little step-by-step kind of a.
And there are vibrators out there you can't even tell they're vibrators. They're like necklace, pieces like jewelry that you would wear on your neck.
Or leaf shapes, or
yeah.
just they look.
Yeah.
You would never. They're very modern looking.
Yeah,
Art
these days they're
pieces.
very well designed.
Yeah.
I saw it on your website, which we'll get to in a minute. Yeah, I saw it on your website, the different toys that you guys had. First of all, I'm talking with Narine Semerdjian, and today's topic is a great one. It's about sex toys, how to introduce it to your partner, or if you want to do it by yourself. Once that's incorporated, now the sex toy. Let's say the vibrator. Is it possible now that the scary part? Now, this is one of those what if questions that the woman might just be reliant on only the vibrator, and the man is left out in the cold. Is that something that a man might not need to worry about? Should worry about?
Honestly, I think that's a fear of most people is, will I be replaced? No, because again, a body part, the flesh, the connection, the emotion, all of that, a vibrator cannot provide. What you would encourage somebody to do with the vibrator is to get to know their body better. And for them to do that solo would be very important before they bring it into the relationship, because they understand their body. Women don't normally understand their bodies entirely so that they can communicate that with their partners and say, oh, I do like that. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, do it in this direction, or point it or massage it this way. This is how I like to be touched. You as a man are an information hub, and you just need to be able to receive that, or understand how to ask it to receive that information and store it in your mind. And a lot of times, like women, like maybe something feels great this time, but the next time it won't, depending on her cycle. It's just how our bodies work. Our hormones have different variations, and throughout the month, like it's kind of fucked up. I'm sorry, but it's it happens.
Also,
It happens,
if you think you're like being replaced, take a step back from the vibrator or from the sex toys. Take a step back. You can always use them again. Take a step back, reset, kind of figure out like where you guys are in the relationship sex wise, and give it another go, but without the toys.
Also,
So
like
you could
it,
alternate maybe between
Yeah, of
sessions
Yeah.
of
course, of
sex
course.
and all
Yeah,
that.
Yeah,
you
just because you use a toy once doesn't mean you have to use it for the rest of life.
Yeah.
Right.
it'll, I mean, there's a lot of times where it's one of those things where it's like, do I want to orgasm quick, or do I want to take my time and, maybe go for an hour and not give a shit about orgasming? It just, also not having an end goal in mind is really important to consider. It's not about, sex isn't about just the big O, it's about the intimacy and connection
And the
between two
connection, yeah.
people. And intimacy and connection can also be had by touch during the day, a massage, a date out, like, walking. It just depends on how your partner reacts, so you understand what their language is and how they want to receive touch or love or intimacy or connection, and then go from there. It's understanding the person is really getting to know them,
Yeah.
and over time you just get to know them even better.
Yeah, no, oh my God, this is like so much, such eye-opening. Um, so before I let you go, first of all, David and we thank you so much for being on People Today. I really appreciate it, because again,
Yeah,
this
no
is
problem.
eye-opening. You gave me a lot to think about, which is a good thing. Talk more about your sex products. Talk about a little bit about your website. Like, how did you came? Like, I looked at it and I was amazed at all the things that you guys have on there. How did you come up with the products? And like I said before, you want to make it safe. You don't want to get sick. You don't want to get any type of diseases. So, talk more about
Yeah.
the products.
So with the products, we're very, very selective on what we sell, not just the product itself, but actually the brand behind the product.
Mhm.
Because we're also selling the brand as well, not just the product, right? So we do like a lot of trial and error. We do a lot of reviews. We talk to the manufacturers where we see their manufacturing process, what kind of materials they use. That's probably number one, like what kind of materials they use, because we don't sell products that contain uh, the sort of part like TPR, TPE, like kind of like
PVC.
rubbery material, jelly material. We
Right.
don't sell any of that, so we're very selective. We're very
How it's coated, what it's made
yeah.
of. Obviously, like the functionality, there's a lot of toys, and price point, obviously. We do offer warranties on our products, 90-day money back guarantees, with store credit. So we do all this research to ensure that the products we're selling are not going to fall apart on people or hurt them in any way. The lubes we sell are safe ingredient based lubes with no harmful chemicals in them. We just do a whole lot of research, and all of it started with, I was telling David the other day, I was like, when we go to like these sex toy conventions to buy more product, the reason why we don't spend as much time as we did in the very beginning at these events is because we know exactly who to go to now, because we've developed, one, relationships, two, know exactly so much about the people that are willing to share so much about themselves, to make us feel very safe to resell their products to people in our customer base. I would never sell anybody anything I personally wouldn't use, because if it's harmful, I'm never going to share it with you. I won't. And if it's going to be something that's cheap and going to break apart in the next like 4, 5, 6 months after a few uses, like why am I going to do that? I know you're going to come back and buy more toys, but why the hell do I want to do that to you? I don't want to do that to you. The value is based off of quality. The quality I'm providing is all the information I've gone to seek behind closed doors, between the both of us, to understand these manufacturers and then sell them back to you guys in a very informative way. And if you guys sign up for our emails via newsletter on our website, we're always sharing education. It's free education. It's about the psychology. It's about how to approach topics, about how to use products, because one product can do multiple things. A penis can be, stimulated with a clitoral vibrator as well. It's not just about a vulva. It's about how can we incorporate this one product to use in so many different ways, right? And then the creativity part of it, it becomes really fun. So
Yeah. Okay. No, that's definitely good. Like I said, I'll definitely put that on the show notes. And talk about your couples quiz. Now, is this for married couple, or it could be boyfriend, girlfriend? Is there a preference?
anybody.
Okay.
Any sort of couple, yeah. So
It's there to help. It's there to help people so a lot of times people are very confused about, well, what do I buy? What body part do I want to? And then we break the quiz down based on like who you are, who they may be, and then what body parts do we want to satisfy, and who do we want to satisfy that for, so that we can then churn out. And it's not a whole lot of products, it's mostly 4 products, but the 4 products break down most of the categories of what most people would want in terms of like stimulation. So they're the best ones within each category.
And we're always optimizing that quiz. We're always doing revisions. We're adding newer products, better products, because newer and better products always come out, right? Every single year, there are new products coming out that's better than, you know, the previous generation model. So we're always working on the website.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to promote? I mean, you guys, I don't know if you guys have a book, because I was looking at, because you guys have a book in you.
Not yet. It's
That's a good answer, because you
works.
guys should definitely write a book, because you got the website, you got the knowledge, you know, the experience. You guys definitely got to write a book.
We'll consider it.
So, where can people find you? What's the best way to find you?
So they can always email us, info@beyonddelights.com. They can reach us on Instagram. Our handle is Beyond Delights. They can reach us on Facebook.
Same handle, Beyond
Same
Delights.
handle, yeah.
Website is www.beyonddelights.com or beyonddelights.com. Either way works.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to sign up for the newsletter and gain some momentum in your sex lives, then do so, please.
There's also a chat function on our website, so you're more than welcome to just hop in and start chatting with us.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Well, first of all, David and Narine, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. This was definitely enlightening, knowledgeable. I had a great time talking to you guys. I probably could talk to you guys for another hour or so, and I really
easily.
appreciate you guys. Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks
no
for having
problem.
us.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.